Hi everyone, this is Neel Raithatha, consultant audiologist and director of ClearWax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video using the iCLEARscope endoscope. Now I must apologise, the first minute or so I wasn't recording, but you didn't miss much. I went in with suction initially and forceps, gone back in with the microsuction tip as you can see here. And so this patient, give you the case history, he comes regularly. I've uploaded videos of his ears previously. He's 99, soon to be 100, but you wouldn't think it when you meet him. He's full of life, fit as a fiddle really, but he does suffer from chronic buildup of dead skin in the ear, and in the past he's also had chronic otomycosis. So otomycosis is the medical name given for a fungal ear infection, and you can often see the hyphae, which are these woolly strands, and fungal spores residing on the surface of the skin, and there's probably a few here, but it wasn't as noticeable in the left ear as previously. He's also had candida in this ear before. It was a thick, creamy discharge, typically on the eardrum. So candida, or all fungal infections, typically like to be more deeper in the ear, where it's a bit warmer and darker. Now, here he's got these layers and sheets of dead skin. There are some fungal spores on the skin. You may see a few of these. And it's just a tug of war. So the tail end of the skin, I think it's attached to the eardrum. You can see it on the left-hand side. The base of the plug of skin is released. And it may look simple, but I was having to put so much force and really tugging at this. And the forceps weren't pulling the skin. It was just cutting into it. This ear is the narrower one out of the two. Now, I would say that the entrance of the right ear is narrower, but once you're in the ear, it's a lot wider. This ear, the entrance is narrow, but it's a bit wider than the right, but the ear canal itself is generally narrower. And this patient does get the cough reflex when we remove the plug, and it's not hard to see why. Because it's attached to the canal wall, we're pulling it, it's stimulating the Arnold's nerve, which is the branch of the vagus nerve. And when you stimulate the Arnold's nerve, several things can happen. You can get a cough reflex, a gag reflex. You can get the lacrimal reflex, where your eyes get a bit watery. Some people can get the vasovagal response, or in terms of cleaning the ear, we call it the auditory. Now, I was pronouncing it auditory syncope, but I'm told it's pronounced auditory syncope. And that's where basically when you stimulate the Arnold's nerve, which again is a branch of the vagus nerve, it decreases your heart rate and it dilates your blood vessels. So the net effect of that is that you've got less blood traveling to your head, to your brain, and patients can feel really faint, dizzy, and can actually faint. I've had patients in the past that have fainted. Which is yet another reason why it's just bonkers that in the UK earwax removal is not regulated, and you can get and not only can you get, you are getting a lot of lay people. When I say lay people, I don't mean it in a derogatory manner. I'm a lay person when it comes to eyes, so if someone comes to me with eye problems, well, it's not my area of expertise. So I'm a lay person when it comes to optometry, apart from wearing contacts or glasses myself. And on that point, whilst you watch this video, because you're just going to be watching me peel some skin, there's going to be some residual skin just left at the roof of the ear canal and the top part of the eardrum, but it'd just be too sensitive to remove that from this patient. Now, I know this patient very well. They don't have any attic retractions or posterior superior retractions of the eardrum, which that's fully visible anyway. So there's no cholesteatoma, it's just a skin. That skin would naturally come forwards now because I've removed this more lateral skin. So there is a tiny bit left, but I've got to be wary of patient comfort as well. And it's not going to improve their hearing by attempting to remove that. You can probably see how narrow this ear canal is now with this kind of more superficial view. So I got contacted. I don't want to say too much. Obviously, I don't want to breach confidentiality, but I got contacted by someone who works for a deaf charity, and they were contacted by a member of the public. I think it was via online forum. And basically, a patient went to see a specialist for wax removal, but whilst they were there, this individual diagnosed the patient with another condition that I actually had to Google myself because I've never heard of it before. As you can see, that bit of skin just at the roof, but that part of the ear canal is so kind of tapered and narrowed, just left that. So this is the Raithatha. I'll come back onto my story in a moment. Now this is narrower at the entrance, and the layer of skin is more skin in this ear, and there's a bit of hyphae. You can see the woolly strands on the dead skin, and that's why it's a bit reflective, but that reflection will go as we start removing the skin and going deeper in the ear. But I'll just let you carry on watching that. So this, and obviously I've not heard the other individual side of the story, so I've got to kind of obviously keep that in mind. But anyway, this patient is an elderly patient diagnosed with some other medical condition, and when I read about it, it can cause blindness. So this patient that saw this specialist, they consulted with another healthcare professional. I think it was a pharmacist, and I kind of said to the member of this deaf charity, well, a pharmacist is not really qualified to diagnose this. It has to go to a GP, and I think even a GP would need to onwards refer to a specialist at the hospital to give this diagnosis, from what I could read about this condition. But the mind was put at ease, said, look, don't think you've got that condition, etc. And I think the patient did eventually go to their GP, etc. And they were told that they don't have this condition. Now, the reason why this member of the deaf charity contacted me is that they visited this individual's website and they saw a video of an earwax removal, because obviously they were advertising earwax removal, and it had a smartphone. So this patient, this member of the deaf charity group, thought that device was mine, and not only, but that's why they initially contacted me. So they saw your video. They do follow me on Facebook, so they know who I am and my device. And I said, no, it's not my device. It's a similar looking device, but it's, well, it looks similar, but it's nothing like my device. And on this particular website, they advertised that they were accredited by 2 professional bodies within audiology. And basically that device this individual was using, they were previously accredited by, I still think they're accredited by one of these professional bodies. No guesses which body that is. If you've been following my story over the last 2 or 3 years about the regulation of earwax removal in the UK. But the other one, I understand, have removed their accreditation because they weren't aware that this training company who also supply this device were training lay people. But that gave that just by having that on their website gave this individual so much credibility in the eyes of that elderly lady who went to visit them. Oh, they're accredited by 2 professional audiology bodies. To be honest, getting accredited by these professional bodies, it's no big deal. Well, there is no current new accreditation, but previously it wasn't a big, you just submit some paperwork. I mean, I've been accredited by them. It wasn't, and sometimes you have to question the level of expertise of the person within the professional body accrediting you, because I used to be a member of one of these bodies many years ago, and yeah, I don't think there was a level of expertise within the professional body to accredit a course, and they don't really come out and visit you and audit you. So it's just a bit of paperwork, if truth be told, and hopefully that will change moving forward. But also interestingly, so I then started looking at the website, and this individual, because I think the member of the deaf charity thought they were audiologists. Now, because of that as well, because of these 2 professional audiology bodies that are accrediting this course, but there was no mention that these individuals were qualified, any healthcare professional. And I thought, if you're an audiologist or nurse or a doctor or an ENT, someone who's suitably qualified to perform earwax removal, and you're offering that service and you have a website, you're going to be advertising the fact that you are a qualified audiologist, nurse, GP, ENT, etc. But there was nothing on there. So I explained to the individual that don't even think they're an audiologist from the looks of it. I've not come across them myself, but they've got quite, well, the website looks pretty professional. So, which nowadays you can get a professional website. It doesn't, well, professional looking website quite easily, but it doesn't mean that you are a professional. So the member of the deaf charity asked, what can they do? And I said, look, unfortunately at the moment, it's not regulated. Now, if the individual said they were a doctor and given this advice, and obviously clearly they're not a doctor, then yeah, there's probably things you can do, but it's a really difficult one because they said that they didn't claim to be a doctor, but they didn't claim to be an audiologist. So it's, you can see even I'm like clutching at straws here. What can be done? So I've put the lady in touch with one of the professional bodies, the more credible one, that previously were accrediting this training company. But I also put them in touch with the chair of the National Oral Care Strategy Group, which is a group formed of members of various different professional bodies within audiology, the GMC, the ENT UK, etc., to see if something can be done there. But I think basically the moral of the story is just be very careful, guys, because you are going to see individuals advertise that they've been accredited by certain professional bodies, which, as I said, at the moment, it's not really worth the paper it's kind of written on or printed on or certified on. Doesn't really mean much. You're getting a lot of courses advertising that they're CPD accredited. So it looks really, kosher. But most of these courses that are accredited by CPD are training lay people. And someone who's accredited by CPD said to me, it's such an easy process. They do it because it looks good when they're advertising their course, but actually there's no merit in that. So just be very careful. You're going to see all these courses that were accredited by X professional body, Y professional body, CPD. What I would do is look for their profession. What are they? If they're using this term, ear care technician or audiology practitioner, or that's not a profession. You want an underlying recognized healthcare professional. So are they a doctor? Are they a GP physician associate? Are they an ear nurse? Are they an audiologist, a hearing aid dispenser, an audiological scientist, ENT? I could throw, I wouldn't say pharmacist in there, but there are some prescribing pharmacists who have been trained highly in ears, and prescribing paramedics, for example, who've undergone some really high level training so they can actually diagnose ear conditions, infections, and prescribe. The problem with the pharmacy one is that I have trained prescribing pharmacists in the past, and some have been very open, like they are allowed to prescribe for the ear, but they don't know anything about the ear. So I don't know how they are allowed, which is baffling. But then I've trained some other prescribing pharmacists who had such great knowledge and experience. So I don't think there's a standard generalized course for that. Hopefully that will change. So anyway, back to the procedure. It's got this last bit of skin in there. Just going to peel this away. So this ear is a bit wider. I've got more room to manipulate. Got all the skin out. Eardrum looks nice and healthy. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care. Keep well. Speak soon.